Destiny 2 has a bunch of weird tricks that could be really helpful. There are ways to get free ammo out of thin air, deal extra damage for free, insanely fast transcendence, and so much more. So here are 20 weird yet useful tricks in Destiny 2. I'm Marshix, and I make Destiny 2 guides for solo players. If you enjoy, all I ever ask for is just a like down below. You can get full special ammo out of thin air with any weapon. Icebreaker is an exotic sniper rifle that gets free ammo whenever you get kills with other weapons. So ammo is never a problem. But what you can do is get a bunch of kills to generate full ammo with Icebreaker, then swap to another special weapon and all the ammo will go with it, essentially giving any weapon in that slot Icebreaker's perk to give you unlimited ammo. Speaking of unlimited ammo, you can completely avoid reloading a bunch of weapons thanks to Facet of Command. This will reload your weapon each time you either freeze or suppress an enemy. Now, since some weapons can apply those effects on their own, you can essentially ignore reloads for certain weapons like Tractor Cannon, since it applies suppress, and stasis weapons that can freeze like Wicked Implement, Agriceptor, or some weapons with Chill Clip. You can keep the damage buff from Killing Tally forever. Killing Tally will increase your damage up to 30%, but it goes away once you swap weapons or reload. However, if you bypass the reload with something like Rain of Fire, you can keep this going indefinitely, allowing you to keep the buff for much longer than intended. This trick is really strong for machine guns, and now that we have a grenade launcher with Killing Tally, it's basically a requirement. The Saint 14 weapons have the Cast No Shadows origin trait. This will reload your weapon whenever you deal melee damage. Now, this actually has no cooldown, so if you deal damage over time with a smoke bomb, your weapon will instantly reload over and over for as long as they stay in your smoke bomb, allowing you to spam Marty over and over and over, or just dump your entire perfect paradox into a boss's face. You can create dozens of stasis turrets. During the boss waves and Onslaught Salvation, there are random objectives. If you happen to get the one where pillars of light appear, you can run into them and collect them, and once you have all 4 of them picked up, you will get unlimited abilities, allowing you to throw down tons of stasis turrets that do all the work for you. This is kind of a meme and definitely overkill, but it may help with expert Onslaught runs. The Eververse store is not random. You can see all the Bright Dust items months before they arrive. Just go to this website in the description and you can see everything being sold for Bright Dust this season and everything that is a silver exclusive for the season. These release in order from left to right, so you can kind of predict when they'll be available. So if you were thinking about buying any of these ornaments, you may be better off waiting and buying them with Bright Dust. I know personally, I've been waiting for this Ace of Spades ornament, and I realize now I wasted real money on Icebreaker when I didn't need to. Witherhoard can increase the damage of certain weapons. Enemies hit by Witherhoard will take damage over time. While this is happening, the enemy is considered blighted. Malfeasance and Wishender both have perks that make them deal more damage to taken enemies, but this also counts toward blighted enemies. So if you have a friend using Witherhoard and you're using one of those exotics, you will deal even more damage. And this stacks with other damage buffs like Radiant and Lucky Pants, so this can kinda get crazy. Alethanim is a primary ammo grenade launcher that creates vestiges with every kill, or by getting hits on larger targets. Collecting vestiges will build up this bar in the bottom left, and once it's full, you can spawn heavy ammo for you and your team. But if you hit an immune enemy, it will also create these vestiges, allowing you to spawn tons of heavy ammo before certain raid and dungeon encounters, or during the in-between sections of Onslaught. This is probably obvious, but some of you need to hear it. When hunting for Godwell exotic class items, you can attune them at the Ghost to make your chosen perk more likely to appear. But some perks are way better to attune than others. As an example, let's say you want Star Eater plus a Turtle Warrior and Star Eater plus Inmost Light. It's better to focus for Star Eater since that's an overlapping perk, and it gives you a better chance at both rather than just one. Or another example would be Caliban plus Liar and Caliban plus Synthoceps. These are very similar roles, so just go with Caliban and start working towards both of them. And while you're planning out which exotic class items to go for, you can use this website to mark down which roles you want and see every role you currently have. And if you happen to have duplicates sitting in your vault taking up space, it will show you that too and give you the item ID to easily find it using DIM. You can instantly finish Act 2 and Act 3 season passes before the act even starts. If you complete a bunch of seasonal challenges and bounties and you don't turn them in, you can hold on to them going into a new act and then pop them all at once to get a bunch of XP. And since you probably already unlocked all the XP boosts from Act 1, you can easily get enough to instantly unlock everything within just a few minutes of the new act. You can get 2 exotic armor perks at the same time. Mask of the Quiet One will give you Devour just by getting a few kills. Devour will heal you and give you grenade energy with every kill, and continuing to get kills will extend the duration of Devour, so you can theoretically keep it going forever as long as you keep getting consistent kills. Now, if you get Devour with Mask of the Quiet One and then swap to another exotic, you will keep Devour and still benefit from whatever exotic you just put on. So in a way, you're getting 2 exotic perks at the same time. During the Lightblade Nightfall, you have to kill a bunch of champions while the boss chases you down and insta-kills you with all of his attacks. But what you can do is have one person take his aggro, then just jump back and forth between the middle and the side, and the boss will follow you. Since he's constantly jumping back and forth, he never has time to shoot anyone, so your teammates can clear out everything while you keep the boss distracted. And while we're talking about Lightblade, the Hive Guardians are really annoying, since they have the shield attack that can one-shot you from the other side of the map. But if you have a glaive equipped, you can simply block all of their attacks, and you'll take maybe 5% of the damage. But that's not the only thing glaives are good for, since they can also block knockback damage. So in activities like Warlord's Ruin, where you have to stand in a circle and not get knocked out of it, you can just sit there with a glaive while you activate all the totems, then swap to your heavy and go to town on the boss. You can give some weapons all 3 champion types. Radiant is a damage buff that also gives your weapons anti-barrier. This means weapons with Chill Clip can slow enemies to stun Overload champions, then freeze them to stun Unstoppable champions, and if you become Radiant beforehand, they can also stun Barrier champions. But wait, there's more, because Polaris Lance is a scout rifle that can apply Scorch and eventually ignite your target. Ignitions will stun Unstoppable champions, and in the artifact this season, we have Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle. So this can stun 2 champion types without needing Radiant. Or you can pair this with a Prismatic Warlock to easily become Radiant to deal with barrier shields, then throw on Secant Filaments to make your weapons stun Overload champions while you're standing inside a rift, allowing Polaris Lance to stun all 3 champion types regardless of the artifact. You can build up Transcendence energy really fast. Area Denial Grenade Launchers will shoot out multiple projectiles that linger on the ground for a few seconds and deal damage to anything inside. Since each of these projectiles will deal multiple ticks of damage, this will quickly build up Transcendence energy for the matching type. And if you spread this out and hit a bunch of separate targets, you can easily fill up the bar in only 2 or 3 shots. Right now, there are 2 grenade launchers like this. Lost Signal is Stasis, so it can fill up Darkness energy, and Velocity Baton is Void, so it can fill up the Light energy. And Velocity Baton is special since it can roll with Attrition Orbs to generate tons of orbs of power, since once again, it's getting multiple hits per shot, activating it much faster than any other weapon. You can increase your chances of getting any god roll. All you have to do is like the video. You won't be able to tell immediately, but it probably works. We can finally farm for exotic ciphers. Normally, these are very limited, only dropping from the season pass, resetting Master Raoul, and doing Zer's quest once per week. However, in the last city, you can create tonics. If you purchase a bunch of purple tonics, you have a chance to get exotic tonics, which can be used to get Ascendant Shards, Ascendant Alloys, and those glorious exotic ciphers. And unlike all the other sources, these are not limited. So you can dump all your resources into tonics and get tons of exotic ciphers. You can get free damage with Grand Overture. This machine gun builds up missiles with each hit, and reloading it will allow you to dump all the missiles at once. But what you can do is hit an immune target or an immune object like the panels in Vesper's Host, and each of these hits will build up the missiles, which you can hold on to for the boss fight. Then just hit the rally flag to get all your ammo back, and you still have 20 free missiles to dump immediately into the boss's face. You can easily melt this boss with any character. Rainix Unified is a boss in the new dungeon that will split itself into a bunch of tiny servitors. Wardcliff is supposed to deal less damage to bosses, but these mini servitors are technically not considered bosses, so Wardcliff hits really hard. And since they're all clumped together, each rocket will hit multiple enemies at a time, and because there are multiple ways to instantly reload Wardcliff, like Hunter Dodge and Rain of Fire, you can get a bunch of shots off each damage phase and absolutely melt this boss. Or if you're a Titan, you don't even need that, because you can simply pop your Glacial Quake super, then just spam the heavy attack over and over and over. All of these crystals will instantly shatter, dealing a ton of damage, and even more damage with either Synthoceps or a class item with Spirit of Star Eater. This super rare memento is supposed to be hard to get. To get it legit, you're supposed to run the entire Garden of Salvation raid without having a complete team wipe. But if you go to Orbit and just do the boss checkpoint without wiping, you can still pick up the memento from Hawthorne. And it gets even crazier because you can pick up the same memento multiple times. As long as your previous clear was a checkpoint with no wipes, you can pick it up every week. essentially giving us unlimited raid mementos just by not playing the raid. And you can also farm for the craftable Garden of Salvation weapons completely solo, but you'll have to check out this video to see how. Thanks for watching, I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.